Well, as you can see, I've done as many combinations as I can. I haven't quite been able to figure out what the factorial is, whether it's yeah, well, whether it's 4 factorial or 5 factorial, but it's a lot anyway. I was thinking about factorials and pretty good privacy, whether you could break into that using the factorial, you know, like 7 is a prime number, 5 is a prime number, but in between the two is a 6. So if you had, you know, a 7 factorial minus 4 factorial sort of thing, you'd end up with 5 times 6 times 7 sort of thing, and then you could analyse the number, whether it's divisible by 6 or not, to work out whether the actual number is 2 primes, like 5 times 7 or something like that. I was just wondering if that would be a way in or something, you know, using factorials to break into you know, very large prime numbers sort of thing, So yeah, you know, either divide it by 6 or multiply it by 6 to see, you know, and somehow, yeah, use a factorial like series sort of thing to sort of, yeah, a bit like how would I explain it? A bit like the way the Vernier system works. You could have a Vernier system using factorials, and you slide 2 factorials up against one another, and that would somehow the idea that you use what are those, not parallel equations, you know, you always have to have one more than the thing you're trying to solve sort of thing, whether you could do it that way. If you've got 2 massive prime numbers, the fact you're using 2 rows of factorials, that gives you the edge, you know. It's like a bit like a Vernier system. Anyway, that's just ran through my my mind the other night. I thought, could you crack it using that, you know? It's sort of like the massive prime number is like a rolling sphere between 2 you know, rungs of a ladder, not rungs of a ladder, what are the things on the ladder on the side of a ladder, not the rungs of the ladder, the 2 side pieces on a ladder sort of thing. So you've got this massive prime, you know, multiple prime number thing in between, and you're running the sides of the ladder like you're having a factorial series sort of thing, and because you're using 2 of those, you could somehow break it that way. Anyway, it's just an idea, but yeah. So I think the answer is going to be very strange. I think I'm going to be ending up growing pansies. You know, this idea that if you can grow a tomato, you know, the white sock sour guys say if you can grow a tomato, you can grow CPs. And I'm saying, you know, if you can grow liverworts, you should be able to grow CPs. Because it comes from this idea from the 80s and the 90s when pots used to turn up from these commercial places from interstate, and they were absolutely festooned with liverworts. Nice, decent fly trap plants. And they used to have these like little round beads in there, and some people were saying that osmocote pellets, other people they were saying they were snail eggs, osmocote snail eggs. Don't look at the liverworts sort of thing, because when you do look at the liverworts, what are they? Let's find a good load of liverworts somewhere. Got some liverworts somewhere around here. Oh yeah, liverworts. Let's go to spot colour on a liverwort. What colour is a liverwort? Hang on, take this off. What colour is a liverwort? It's green, almost matching the green of the plant. But I would put it to you that the green of a liverwort, right there and there and there, is actually the green. It's sort of like almost like the green of a cyanophyta sort of thing, the blue-green algae sort of thing. So whether the blue-green algae is a symbiont in the liverwort, because we've learnt recently from scientific publications that lichens, yeah, yeah. Oh God, yeah, I was going to. We've learnt recently But lichens, they used to think it was just a... hang on, put this back on, otherwise we'll get that sun will... as I said, this is... When it works well, it works really well, and sometimes it's a pain in the arse. So they need to fix this. That's better. So now I've got on spot colour and focus sort of thing. So everything in here should be in focus. But lichens used to be like a union between a cyanophyta and a fungus sort of thing. Then they said there was a third thing involved, and now 4. They reckon there's a union of 4 organisms now. He used to talk about nostoc used to be involved. I think it was at least 25% to 50% of them were definitely involved in nostoc. Yeah, but now they say there are 4 organisms in the union, so it's very complex. Makes you wonder if growing tomatoes and sea peas and liverworts and might be something very similar sort of thing. Anyway, let's go back to here again. I don't know. It's looking different. That's interesting. But I think some of these other ones are going to be the winners. And some of the tomato seedlings are sort of getting quite purple, almost black in some of them. So it might be, yeah, funny looking leaves there. So yeah, some of the leaves are purple, almost going into black in some of them. So yeah, we'll see. So as I said, I might end up going pansies or something like that, or the native Australian violas or something, which are again got very dark green leaves. Again, this idea that carnivorous plants and nutrient poor plants, they're eating the insects for nitrogen. And you're saying, okay, low in nitrogen, the master, all the books say it's the master element for all protein and other related chemical production within the plant. So therefore, if you're low in nitrogen, you can't make chlorophyll. There you should be yellow-green to almost going white. And when you do have interruptions in the manufactured chlorophyll, like ammonium-induced iron, what's it called? Ammonia-induced iron toxicity or something. It's got a phrase they use anyway, where you got too much ammonium ion in the soil and it interferes with the iron metabolism, which interferes with the production of chlorophyll, and the plants can go absolutely plastic white in a way, which is very interesting if you look up the photographs. Punching things like chrysanthemums and things like that. Some really classic photographs on Google Image you can find of chrysanthemums under this. I think it's ammonia-induced iron deficiency or something, because you use copper to make the iron protein, which puts the magnesium atom in the centre of the chlorophyll molecule, or so it's believed anyway. And so we might find from some of these lower plants that there are other pathways, more fundamental pathways of lower plants or something. And it doesn't quite work that way or something like that. But anyway, I just thought it might be interesting. We'll end up growing a whole range of... have you noticed down at the nurseries, especially during the autumn, winter, in down under in southern Abbottland, Tony Abbott, failed priest, aka Dr. No, got to rub it in, you see, otherwise people will forget. There'll be memory hold or something. Oh yeah, because this was on the end of, the King John Howard years, a quarter of a lifetime of King John Howard years, if not longer. Of course, and then he went for water first, broadband second, and water is crap and our broadband is fucked, basically. We got shit broadband and we got dirty water, basically. Yeah, partially joking, and we got Mr. $98 million man. You might want to look him up. Well, you're still in politics if you got $98 million. I want some more. Please, sir, can I have some more million? Brewster's Millions, yeah. And then we had that other bloke building a 57-kilometre long dike to preserve water on his property. He had people working on 5 consecutive Christmases on bulldozers. He had them working on Christmas Day. Christmas Day is triple time, and he had 5 consecutive Christmases. And I said, yeah, that's a sign. He needs to go to Jesus by direct post. Yeah, we're going to drop a car on him, £2,000 stamp. Joke. That's my dad joke. I keep using that dad joke. It's a good one. Starting to rain now. Joel up in Queensland just put up a video the other day, and has he got a soggy lawn? My God. Walking on the lawn and it's just going to mush underneath his feet. That's a poor old bugger. Anyway, we'll keep working, and I think we're getting close now, so yeah, I think so. That's a Kaipo daisy, a young Kaipo daisy, so yeah, as long as we get nice green leaves, good growth, rapid growth, I think we'll do okay, but totally not what you think it is, not what you expect, and that's why it's so hard to grow CPs, because the theory is wrong, basically, I would believe. I'll put it to you that the theory is wrong, and all this idea that, you know, they're eating the insects for the nitrogen and blah, blah, blah. You go around to these swamps. I was saying to some lady and some gent I saw yesterday on my walk, I said, it's green as the farm. I was pointing all the eucalypts and everything else, all the bushland. I said, it's green as far as the eye can see, you know. What's all this nonsense about nutrient poor soil, you know? How can it be nutrient poor if you can still manufacture chlorophyll? And if you go to the southwest of Western Australia, it's all these iris-like plants, you know, like the kangaroo paw sort of fit into that sort of iris family sort of look and everything. And they've got these dark green bases of their leaves. I'm thinking, your theory's just got massive holes in it, you know, if not a massive hole in it, you know. Why are these plants green, you know? Supposed to be nutrient poor soils. Well, you know, doesn't seem to be nutrient poor in terms of chlorophyll production. Anyway, that's probably enough. I'm probably have to go in. I don't know how long I've been talking before, but as I said, I've gone through the whole combination, quite a number of factorials, so you can see how you could get lost within the weeds, within the trees sort of thing. Trying to count all the leaves on the trees sort of thing, no. I was just thinking there might be a faster way of working it out. But anyway, I said I think I'm going to concentrate on liverworts, because what colour are liverworts? They're very, very green, aren't they? So they're obviously, the liverworts aren't nitrogen poor. I mean, if they've got cyanophyta in them, and we know that cyanophyta can actually fix nitrogen from the atmosphere, maybe they run the liverworts, and then any excess nitrates that are slowly accumulated after the, well, I wouldn't say it's the degradation of ammonium compounds, accumulate in the soil, and then the rest of the plants take them up sort of thing via their meager roots. Maybe they've got a symbiotic relationship with their roots. We do know if you stick a candle in some peat, you'll get ensheathment. You get like a dorsiform, you know, carrot-like root ensheathment. In other words, it's a macroscopic, an ectotropic macroscopic mycorrhizae. In other words, the classical mycorrhizae. You know, if you can see the ensheathment, basically, you have a mycorrhizae. By the definition of Frank, you actually have. You can get that on a paraffin candle if you stick it in some peat. Doesn't seem to work in anything but peat, though, too well. It definitely works in peat. Why peat? Again, back to peat. You can germinate seeds on peat, you can strike cuttings on peat, blah, blah, blah. Koi is not as good as peat. You can almost get away with the double flush with newspaper cellulose if you put a very thin layer of newspaper cellulose on the surface of a bucket of sand. Been doing that for years. You can do it even with charcoal. Charcoal seems to be slightly better than peat, but it takes an extraordinarily long time, 4 to 6 months at least, before it gets going. But when it gets going, it's actually better than peat. The other thing is, if you put your charcoal down the bottom of the bucket, it seems to not be very good. So have we got anaerobic nether regions of the pot being produced there? I'm not sure, but yeah. But I think we're heading in new directions now, and we're going to sort out all this rubbish, and I think we're going to come to a very strange conclusion, like they are actually very rich nutrient-rich plants, and the soil is actually very nutrient rich, and yeah, all this what seemingly garbage, and prima facie, in your face sort of evidence that the original theory is incorrect. Did someone make a mistake all those years ago? Are they trying to save face because some great famous person 100, 200 years ago made some claim and it was just wrong, and they're trying to save face? You would have thought the people trying to save face for the person are dying off now, so why try and save face? Is it something to do with big horticulture and big pharma? If you actually get to the truth, you won't have to go down the shops every every season. You won't have to build up your soil and all that sort of thing. You won't have all these disease problems. You won't have to buy all the ancillary products, so on and so forth. Anyone can grow basically anything. Pansy, you want to grow moss, liverworts, ferns, pansies, tomatoes. Everything else will be a doddle. You know what I mean? It'll be almost like sticking a stake in the ground and watching it shoot, sort of thing. Anyway, that's enough of this one, I think. But they're just my sort of general ideas at the moment. There's something very strange in the world of carnivorous plants. They grow right next door to praised plants like terrestrial native orchids. Do you think by understanding one you'd be able to grow the others better, and vice versa? But no one seems to want to do any research into carnivorous plants. Like they're almost radioactive or dangerous. Don't go near these plants. They're sort of looked upon as toy plants, or at the very best mere curiosities. It's almost like you're going to upend something, you're going to rock the boat, spill over the apple cart. You're going to make a major discovery that's going to unlock, well, I don't know if you want to call it pay dirt. Yeah, I think, it must be something, because the way that people seem to be steering you away, and the fact they seem to be involved with such lower forms of plant life, and we've got so many in this country, and this country has been devoid of glaciation, just sailed off into the sunset basically. I reckon there's something major there, and when you crack it, you're going to unleash holy shit. Batman. No, no, Robin, only in the Vatican. You only get holy shit in the Vatican. Holy cow, Batman. No, only in India, Robin. I know. Sometimes you got to laugh because something isn't right in the world of lower plant life and carnivorous plants sort of thing. So anyway, at least we've got some liverworts existing on the surface of the soil and doing all right next to some sundews. So growing basically turning salt into soil, and basically a salt that doesn't burn the plants sort of thing. So very interesting. But as I said, going through all the combinations to see, and we're trying to tick some boxes of how to strike cuttings and also germinate seeds. Once I've strucken cuttings, can you say strucken? It's like dove, isn't it? I just dove into the water. Strucken. It's a bit like ill-gotten gains. Gotten. It's okay to use it in the phrase ill-gotten gains, but everywhere else they say you shouldn't use it, sort of thing. I'm thinking, well, how come it's okay in one situation but not in another? So anyway, we'll look into that, so we'll see. But I think I'll be growing pansies before I'm growing a tomato, I reckon. But anyway, and Australian violas, you might want to look those up. Anyway, last look. I'm on Adobe, by the way. Anyway, over and out. See ya.